Here.
I know it's terrible.
All right. So, good evening, everybody. I'd like to officially call us to order for November's General PTA meeting. So, thanks everybody for taking a chunk out of your Tuesday evening to come hang out with us and talk PTA. As always, we want to start with some wins and some shout outs here. And I think the first one that's worth mentioning is going to be the Fall Festival that we had a few weeks ago. Fall Festival is always just an incredible success. Between Dominique's planning and the just enormous effort from all the volunteers who came in and volunteered their time, spun cotton candy, staffed booths, helped pick up candy, stuff pinatas. It really is incredible to see all the effort that goes into it and makes it such a great and successful event. And even more so that it's free. I think each year now that we've done it 2 years in a row that we've been able to do this as a free event, I think means a lot to the community. And I feel like we're getting the word out there that this is a free community event. And I can't wait to see where it goes in upcoming years. Next up, a quick shout out about the book fair. Abby Blanton wasn't able to join us this evening, but she did send out some information about that I'll go over later in the meeting. But just quick shout out, we beat the numbers that we did for the last book fair in the spring. So another hugely successful event. And shout out to all the volunteers who came in and made their best efforts to operate a point of sale system in the library and try to keep all the crazy kids in check as as they're drooling over the pens and highlighters and diaries and everything but the books. Sometimes it feels like. And then for our last one, I will send it over to Sherry about our most recent Noche Familiar.
Yes, last Friday we had our second Noche Familiar of the school year. The first one being the ham jams that we had at
Sherry, we've lost you.
school. This one, oh, hold on.
Yeah, we've lost you. You back?
Am I? We've been having internet troubles. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay. You need to come over and fix my internet. Okay. Noche Familiar was great. Elena and I served free popcorn, and we had some free juice boxes. And then we had our food trucks. It wasn't the biggest that we've had, but the group that was there was solid. And just a shout out to the admins and any teachers that stayed to kind of help out. Also, Stephanie Matos, the new elementary school PE teacher, put out these really gigantic, awesome soccer balls for the kids to play with during open gym, and some other balls and things that they could play with. So that was really nice of her. And it's always a fun event.
We're living closer, be able to go.
All right, that's all I got. Look for the next one. The next one will be in January.
Thanks, Sherry. All right, moving on to our agenda items. We'll start off with Lori reading through our meeting minutes from October.
Thank you, Danny. Last month, we went over shout out and wins. We went over extracurriculars to start off the year, covered Staff Appreciation Week, went over the soccer field partnership with CSA and CMS for the soccer fields. Of course, ham jams and how successful that was, and our membership numbers. For committee updates, we went through the treasurer report, Fall Festival. Thank you, Dominique, for both of those. The Invest campaign, Went over the book fair ahead of it kicking off, a little outdoor beautification, went over our Collinswood connections, and covered Noche Familiar. As well as advocacy committee, extracurriculars with Naomi, and a little conversation around the car pickup line issues that we were seeing, as well as upcoming events.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the attendees about the meeting minutes? All right. In that case, I would like to make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from October as written.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. Meeting minutes approved. Thank you very much, Lori. All right. Next up, Dominique, talk to us about some money.
We have a good amount. So in the bank right now, we have $131,061.70. We're categorically under budget on just about everything so far, which is great. So we still have plenty of money to go around. There are a couple of motions that we need to make to move some money from a different line item to another. The first is the Ham Jams $10,000 match that we will move $10,000 from Ham Jams line to our invest line. The second motion is about our moving the $1,000 for PTA socials to was it Sherry PTA discretionary? Yes.
Can I interrupt you to tell people what that means though, or do you want to wait till it's...
No, you're welcome to.
Okay. Our PTA socials in the past year or so, we have one at the holidays, one at the end of year. They have not been well attended. The board would like to, instead of waste that $1,000 on two events that no one really comes to, we could instead use that to pour into the school. The official motion would be to move it from the PTA events line item to PTA discretionary. Just as to be fully transparent, two of the things that have come to my attention that leaders at the school would like some help covering. One of those being that middle school CASAs, each student having their own t-shirt provided for them. Another ask was from Stephanie Matos, the elementary PE teacher. Last year, during the basketball season, the wrong size basketball jerseys were ordered, from what I understand, and they're youth sizes. This was done by Coach Cohen, who has no children and probably didn't understand what he was ordering. So they need new jerseys for this year. So those are just a couple of the examples. And as a board, we were like, well, we could just move this money. No one comes to these anyways, because we do have lots of other opportunities to all build community together with the Notre Familiars and the casual Collinswood meetups and such. That is my spiel on that.
I think one thing I'll add to that is the reason that the board is recommending or suggesting a move into the PTA discretionary fund instead of specifically a middle school or a sports line item is to make it a little bit easier from an accounting perspective to spend that money where it's needed most. If we were to, for instance, we were to put it all into middle school for the Casas t-shirts, if there was any money left over that we then wanted to allocate as a gift to the to the sports teams or the uniforms, we would then have to do another budget reallocation and another vote. So that's why there's the recommendation there to put it under PTA discretionary funds.
Thank you,
Any
Danny.
questions?
Yeah. Any questions from anybody in the meeting? I know Alyssa, you posted something in the chat about the sports teams reaching out about uniform and transportation needs.
I have not heard anything about the transport stuff, but the uniforms, yes.
Should I take it that there are enough, or we expect there to be enough players for girls and boys basketball team?
I will defer to Labreezy or Modine, but from what I understand, yes, we should be good.
Yeah, I think we'll have enough players, and we also have cheerleading this year, which is new. So we have a lot of kids that are involved.
That's great.
Yeah, the point that came up, I was talking with some middle school parents over the weekend, and I totally agree with moving the line items just so we could help out with the uniforms. I think the concern, and maybe Mr. Briefy, you can speak a little bit more about this with transportation, was getting like some of the football players or the track players to the practices that are at different school locations. And I think Mr. Kevin had gotten a commercial license to be able to do that, but I don't know if he's still doing that this year. So it was just something that came up in conversation. And I said that I would mention it in our meeting this week to see if that was something that PTA could help support.
Yeah, so Mr. Kevin, it does have a CDL, so he can drive the buses.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into what we can do, as far as the transportation costs. And then as far as the reallocation of funds, just to make it official, I would like to make a motion that we reallocate $1,000 from the PTA events line item over to the PTA gifts and recognition discretionary funds line items, which I will highlight here. Again, for clarification, $1,000 from PTA events and move it into the gifts and recognition discretionary
Danny,
funds.
Just a quick correction, it will go actually align up to the general PTA discretionary.
Got it.
I second the motion.
Right. All in favor?
Aye. I just had one other quick question. The jerseys that are too small, those are going to get trashed, or can we
I'm
think about it?
so glad you asked, Ross. Thank you. Excellent. Actually, everybody, keep your eyes peeled in the next couple months. We are going to try and turn that into a little bit of profit and sell them in the Spiritwear store.
Yeah, that's exactly where my thought was going.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
All right. And just to confirm, any opposed to the motion that's on the floor? All right. Motion will pass. We'll move $1,000 from PTA events over to the PTA discretionary line. Thank you very much, Sherry. Dominique?
We also need to do another motion to move the $10,000 from Ham Jams to invest as a part of the Ham Jams match.
And that's under income?
Yes.
So we will be moving. So the motion is to move $10,000 from Ham Jam's income line item to the invest in your child line item. And Dominic, can you share with the team the reason for that?
It was brought up with, I think Rob Koch knows a little bit more about it if you're on, Rob. But it's a match program because Ham Jams has, one, done an amazing job fundraising, but two, a more limited scope in their goals. Ham Jams planning and coordinating committee kind of group that they had agreed to do a match program and kind of I don't even know the word.
Motivate other people to
Yeah,
donate during the last.
motivate, but I don't know. I don't have words today, but they pledged a $10,000
Yes.
of their fundraising money to move to invest, which has gets used for all of our line items in the PTA.
Which, if no one caught that, that's very important. I did not know this until I got involved at the board level. When everyone donates to invest, you are donating to our entire budget for the next year. Like that is what we use for our all the cool things is invest.
Website hosting, teacher supplies, teacher professional development, all of the helping hands materials, all of that.
So any questions from the meeting attendees related to the motion? So to make it official, the motions being presented is that we move $10,000 from the Ham Jams income line item to the invest in your child income line item. Do we have a second?
A second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, motion has passed. We'll move that money along to the invest campaign. What else you got for us today, Dominique?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was still on mute. I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. We were under budget for Fall Fest. There's a few more checks that I have to clear officially before we can fully wrap up expenses on Fall Festival, but we did go under budget this year, which is great. Again, thank you everyone so much for all your help with that. And looking forward, we don't have any real major expenses down the line until the next semester begins after the holidays.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dominique. Any other questions from the team for Dominique? All right, forward
Nice job.
onward. I'm sorry?
I just said nice job.
Thank you, sir. All right, Jasmine, talk to us about your middle school update.
Hello. Sorry, I'm gonna have some background noise. I'm in the house with the kids. So middle school updates. You did touch on the fall festival. We just want to give a big shout out from the resource team, the middle school resource team, to everyone who helped us with the kickball tournament. It was a big success. We had the playoffs between the different casas. And we just want to give a big shout out to you, Danny, for being the referee, Elena for being the timekeeper, and oh, you have pictures, yay! And Juliana for assisting there with sign up at the day of, because we had some children sign up before, but we got a lot of our people there. We were recruiting at the fall festival, so thank you to Danny as well for recruitment. But from the MSR team, thank you very much. And we have our casa winner there, which I believe was Agua, ¿cierto? I'm sorry, Tierra.
Tierra.
Tierra. Yeah, it was Tierra. So those are our champions, our first year Casa Jaguar Cup winners. So
You'll
yeah.
notice the championship rings, which I thought was an awesome little detail, Jasmine.
My daughter plays softball, so they always win these tournament rings at the end of like their travel ball tournaments. So I was like, this would be awesome. I was like, what can I do? And I was like, oh my gosh, they sell ring pots. So I was like, let's do that. So they liked them. They thought it was funny. So yeah, so thank y'all for all jumping in. And a special shout out to Dominique for making the Casa Cup trophy possible because that was a quick turnaround for that. Thank you so much, Dominique. So the plan is to every year add the Casa Cup winner to the side, like on a little plaque, I guess you could say. And it will just be added to that, I guess until it fills, and then we could just add like a plaque for the wall or something. I don't know. But that's still in the works. But that's our first Casa kickball tournament. So hopefully next year at the Fall Festival, we can continue the tradition for the kickball festival. Tournament, sorry, at the Fall Festival. But yeah, that was very welcoming. So thank y'all so much for helping with that. Also, thank you to Elena. I'm moving on for helping with Miss Labrizi's petition. We cleaned out Mrs. O's I guess you could call her book closet or the middle school book closet. I'm not sure what it was called, Miss Labrizi, but thank you for reaching out to us. We're definitely here to assist in what we can. The middle school resource team, definitely we got a lot done that day. So thank you so much, Elena, for coming out. I don't know if she's on here. I don't see her name, but thank you so much. Shout out to her. What else? We wanted to talk about a little bit today about casas. Danny, I don't know if you could pull up the slides. We did, you'll hear my child laughing in the background, sorry y'all. But we did request from the middle school to be able to send something out to the parents because we had the miscommunication. I guess there was just not enough communication out on what casas were. A lot of parents didn't know what it was. And yes, I know my son or daughter is in Casa Agua or whatever, but we didn't know what exactly that meant. We just knew they were a part of a casa, but we didn't really understand what was going on. So for you guys that are logged on tonight, I just want to give a brief overview of what casas is. The slides were sent through Parent Square. So if you missed that, you can scroll down and see it, but I'm just going to give a quick overview. So as you can see, there is a dress code every Friday. The middle school students are allowed to wear a solid color shirt based on their casa. So aire or air would be yellow, tierra or earth would be green, agua or water would be blue, and fuego or fire would be red. So they're allowed on Fridays to wear a solid colored tee or sweatshirt representing their casa color. Okay. So throughout the year, house points are awarded depending on what teachers see the students doing. So for going above and beyond in class or doing something for another person or for another staff member. So those points get accumulated throughout the year. And there are house celebrations that are held 2 times a year that will treat, once they add up all these house points, they come out to see who won the casa celebration for that. I guess I don't want to say semester or I don't know how that works, but it's 2 times a year that they do it, that they accumulate the point. The next celebration, well, the first celebration of this year will be on December 20th. So they will definitely calculate all those points and then they're gonna have like a little party, not really a dance, it's just some music and a get together and celebrating to show who won the casa house points for that first part of the school year. We can move to the next one. So this slideshow kind of just, this slide here just kind of shows like the legend of El Jaguar and how Collinswood stands on a forest, and it kind of just goes into like what El Jaguar means, and it's a noble creature. It just comes from Latin cor, which represents compassion, courage, and resilience. Cor basically is to sum up the legend. Cor beheld village after village of children who are struggling to find their own paths in lives. So seeing their potential, the Jaguar or Cor also felt that she needed to guide them. So Cor decided that it was her life's calling to ensure that the children of the world had the best chances at success. Okay, so that's how she came upon bringing the natural strengths of the world, which she called different elements, to call upon these elements to aid the formation of the 4 unique communities that Casas is for these children, right? So these communities became known as aire, tierra, fuego, and agua, so air, earth, fire, and water. So these communities embodied the virtues of what each element stands for. So it just basically is a way to guide them and to lead them to what their potential or greatness could be. So aire in a quick sum, well, you have earth, we'll do earth. So tierra, it's known for its resilience, strength, and determination. So their casa is based on excellence, strength, persistence, dreamers, and tenacity. That's their trait, okay? And the color is green. And as you can see, each casa is going to have on the slide a color, an animal, a song, a region, cores, which is their house I guess, trait, and just a more explanation of each trait of each casa. So that was earth, and now fire. So fire, it courage and embraces challenges. So it teaches them to ignite the change in the world around them and to face their fears. So their traits are leadership, passion. They're passionate, adventurous, valorous, and resourceful. And I like that song by Pitbull, by the way. Aire. So aire is a casa based on wisdom, and their traits are global citizenship, insightfulness, problem solvers, they're intelligent, and judiciousness. I can't even say that word. Next. And then agua or water, they're known for their compassionate and kindness, the importance of healing and supporting one another in times of need, and their empathy. So their traits are inclusiveness, they're empathetic, intuitive, understanding, and perceptive. So each casa and each breakdown of each casa with their color and their animal all basically go back to that legend that we were talking about earlier and how that spirit of the Hagwad lived in the hearts of the children. So reminding them that together they could overcome any obstacle. So that's why they're broken down into different casas, and just to help guide them and be able to be that greatness that they want to see in the world. So we can jump on to the next. Sorry, I'm flipping my slides as well. So the casas meet every month. And we're talking about not just seventh grade or one casa, not just eighth grade or one casa. We have the casas are divided. The students from sixth, seventh, and eighth grade are divided amongst the three casas. So they're the four casas. I'm sorry. So they're all mixed in. So eighth grade, seventh, and sixth grade are all mixed into the different casas. So depending on what casa they're in, it depends on what kind of projects they work on. Like it says on here, they do work on community service projects, team building, social, emotional activities, and competitions, depending on each casa and what they represent. Okay, next slide. So this is just a tentative schedule of what they do. Like every month they try to get together with their casa. The next one is November 22nd. They meet in the morning and they just go over what kind of projects they want to do, their points, and they just come up with a next project for each casa. So they do meet every month, and they do sorry, that's double D's. They do work on different activities throughout the school year, and it just kind of gives them a sense of community and to form unity amongst each other, especially when they're all in different grade levels. So it's a great way for them to get to know each other and just form just a stronger bond between them. And I actually had down, hold on, what it said about what it reminded everybody of. I wrote it down right here. I'm sorry, I done flipped out on my pages. But it's basically saying that the legend of the Course Casa became a cherished part of Collins history, serving as a timeless reminder that somos Collinswood, juntos podemos. So it's a timeless reminder that we're Collinswood and that we can do everything together. So that is your overview of casas. For anyone that didn't know what it was. But yeah, I think this is great. And I just feel like it definitely gives the middle schoolers an opportunity to form unity and community, just because, you know, getting out of elementary school and going into the middle school years, it's kind of not as social with the parents, but I feel like this can keep them social within their friend groups and just forming that unity in the different grade levels as well. So awesome team. And what else did we want to go over? We did talking about classes now. I did want to go over the middle school um, team, resource team reaching out to the staff, and they were requesting to see if the PTA could cover getting casa shirts for each student. That is in the works, and I know I've already talked to you guys and Principal Medina about this, and we've met with Miss Gibbs and Miss O. They're working on an Excel sheet to get how many students and sizes and things. They're just finishing up the seventh grade, and then they're going to forward that to the PTA. That way we can possibly work something out with Dominique on board and Elena to see what that looks like and the cost, and if we could possibly do that. Just so I guess to help build that unity with their own casa. Each student will have a shirt, and so we're not leaving anyone out that can't afford one or anyone out that just doesn't need, well, doesn't feel the need to have one, but I think that this would be a great way to help build that community, because what other way to, than to represent your casa with a shirt? And it will help for like future upcoming events, especially
Like kickball tournaments.
kickball tournaments, soccer tournament, things that are coming down the road. So I think it would be great. That way you can identify with your casa and rock your shirt. So that's in the works. I know we were talking about, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes. January 31st, just my last note here. January 31st is the middle school winter dance. According to our calendar from 1:30 to 3:30, just making sure that's still okay during the day. I think Principal Modine and Miss Labrizzi are still on to see if we could confirm that.
Yes, that is still in the works.
Okay, so we can still we can plan for 1:30 to 3:30.
You got it.
Okay, I feel like that would be great because I felt like there was so much more participation last year when it was in during the school. So more children got to be a part of that. So I think now that we've confirmed the time and the day, I don't know, Danny, if it's possible that we can reach out to see about different themes, like maybe as a PTA come up with 3 different themes, and that way we can send out a survey or like just a poll for the students to vote on one. Because I know I reached out to Zaina about it and Tiffany, and thank y'all. I'm very grateful for all the wise advice because I'm new, so this is great. So whichever way we want, they mentioned doing a survey or a poll to get a topic so the students can be involved in picking that for their winter dance. And just throwing it out there, sorry. We are planning a community resource fair / sports physical, possible date for February 13th, 4:30 to 6 p.m. And more to come for the PTA and for Principal Modine. I would like to meet about that, but just wanting to get any resources our families at Collinswood need to tap into: food, health, transportation, things like that. Like I said, I am a CHW outside of PTA, so I'm a community health worker. I help with resources. So if I can link anybody, and we're trying to get, I do work at Atrium Health right across the street where that food line is. It's a community clinic, and I feel like I can talk to my practice manager to see if we can get some volunteer doctors to come out to do the sports physicals for our students that can't afford to have one, so we can increase the participation in sports for the spring. And that's something we're going to work with Coach D and the basketball coach, Ms. B. And that's all for me, middle school.
That's all. Jasmine, what a great update. It's really awesome to see how much effort, how much work is going on behind the scenes most times with our middle schoolers. So I love giving you the opportunity to present to everybody and making sure that the work that you and the middle school resource team are doing is recognized. So really great job. That's awesome to hear through and through about everything going on with the middle schoolers.
Thank you. Thank y'all for your support and your confidence that we're going to get through this. Thank y'all.
And for everybody on the call, I did put a link in the chat to the CASAS presentation that the teachers sent out. So if you want to save that link, you certainly can, or just reach out to me directly, and or to Jasmine, and we'll get you a copy of that presentation. All right. Next up on our agenda, Collinswood Cares, and Ann Allen, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I don't want to take a ton of your time because I know most people at this meeting already know about Collinswood Cares, but I do want to drop in a blurb about our upcoming fundraising for holidays. And just in case there are people on this Zoom that are unfamiliar, just really quickly, we would love to have you participate in Collinswood Cares. It's basically just an email list that we occasionally activate for specific needs. In the past year, we've done school supplies, book fair, and then we always do a big holiday drive. But in theory, it can be activated for any Collinswood community need, but be that students, teachers, staff, families, any urgent need, we could fundraise outside of the restrictions of the PTA budget really quickly and help our community out. We didn't do book fair in the fall, mainly because we got hit really hard by the book fair in the spring. It was way more than we had way more funds than we'd ever used before in a book fair. And also we kind of were afraid that people were getting fundraising fatigue with Invest and Ham Jams, but we will for sure participate in the spring book fair. And then also, so Nikki Moore and I regularly meet with the school counselors, and they let us know if there's anything pressing outside of those needs that we should be asking our community for. So I will drop Nikki Moore's email in the chat. She is who you would email if you want to be included on our distribution list, and we would love to have more people. Let me see what else I want to say. Oh, and inclusion on this email list does not obligate you to participate at any point or at any level, or you can ignore one email, participate the next time, participate once a year, here and there, whatever you're comfortable with. And then we will have an email coming out soon about our holiday needs. Miss Burgess and Miss Singleton, I think this year prefer more reliance on gift cards. In previous years, we did Angel Tree, which is a lot of work. And a lot of work on our families that participate. But there will be some items that we'd still want people to purchase. But we want to give the family the opportunity to use these gift cards however they need for the holidays, whether it be food or gifts or whatever. So look out for that email for those of you on our distribution list. Those of you who are not, I'm going to send you Nikki Moore's email in the chat. And we really appreciate you all. And thank you for participating at whatever level. That's all I got. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Ann. Any questions from the group for Ann? All right, forward and onward. Ross, we'll send it your way for outdoor beautification.
Sure. I'll be quick. Unfortunately, Laura Magnuson is not on this call, although I'm going to try and get her on the next call in January. That's why I was asking Danny, because I really don't want to take any credit for what she's doing with the garden area, because it really is her vision. And while there is some funding from the PTA sort of contributing and supporting that, it is her labor of love. So we had a small-ish gathering for our fall sort of outdoor beautification day. It was the day after Fall Fest. So timing actually was great, because I think some of the cleanup we were doing was really perfectly timed in case there was stuff left over from the day before, the festivities the day before. And we did a lot of stuff in her garden space. And I do have a Collinswood hat on. Sherry's Sherry's sending text messages. during my update. That's not distracting at all. So I would say, just to sort of summarize, we're in a very stable state from an outdoor beautification standpoint. I mentioned this a couple calls ago, but we were fortunate to get a new landscaping company. Completely lucky. That's actually amazing. It's a company called Rupert. They were there all summer, getting our school ready for teachers and students to arrive, and they are like a game changer. So the school looks great. The garden is really, what we're doing now is going to make it really beautiful in just a few months' time when spring comes around. Beautiful and also productive. There's going to be, edible things that come from this garden as well. So, I'm amazed by how great the school looks. I always thought the landscaping, could be on par with the actual physical building, because we have a state-of-the-art brand new school building. We're lucky enough to have that, and I think we've made some very strong strides to get it that way. We'll have our spring event probably maybe in the month of April. I'm not sure if we put a date on the calendar or not, but that's a ways away. The only thing I would kind of put on the radar for this group as something that still seems like we could be better at as a community is just some sort of sustainable way to try and get litter up off the ground on a more routine basis. There's probably a million reasons why it's there, and this is not coming from a place of, blame or anything at all. It's really coming from a place that we have a beautiful school. The building is beautiful. The campus is beautiful. And, I just want us all to participate and spend time in a place that is as good as it can possibly be. This has been kind of an issue that I've been focused on for a little bit of time now. So I'm basically open to suggestions, ideas. I don't have the answer. We'll still continue to do cleanup. I and a few other parents do get out there from time to time when we have time in our schedule. So if anybody has any ideas or wants to spitball, just reach out to me. And maybe there's some good ideas in the community that can make it just a little bit more sustainable.
I feel your pain there, Ross. When we were setting up for Fall Fest, I had to use like probably half of my volunteers, not for setup, but for retrieving trash and sweaters and socks and a couple of shoes.
Socks.
A couple of shoes too. So not matching, like just missing, like somebody went home with one shoe kind of a deal. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. I know there's tons of kids that go out there and teachers can only do so much, but yeah, I guess everyone could maybe individually remind their kids to not do that. One mother, she asked her daughter, she said, you just leave your trash laying around out here? And she was like, oh no, I dump it over there instead. And so, yeah, it might just be like, if we can really kind of drive it home. I know the teachers say it till they're probably purple in their face, but if we can just maybe drive it at home too and just say, hey, you guys got to be good stewards of your space. I know that's also only going to go so far because kids are kids, but
yeah,
I feel the pain.
Yeah, no, it's really a minor thing at the end of the day, but I do think we have a pretty powerful group here, and I think it's something we can make inroads on, and get to a better place.
All right, thanks, Ross. And team, any questions? Hold on. We have a note in the chat from Kelly. Could it be used as a community service activity for middle school?
Yeah, that idea has come up a few times. Like I don't know that that's the PTA's call, to be honest. It's a great idea. I mean, I would say I would have I don't have middle schoolers, but I would be happy for them to help pick up. I mean, it's their community. I'm also trying to think creatively about building a little bit of a stronger bridge between the school and the surrounding neighborhoods because they are running neighborhood cleanups from time to time throughout the year. So there's a number of angles to approach this from. I don't have the answer, but that's a great idea that, I think collectively we should probably think about, but again, kind of hard for the PTA to make that call.
Side note, hi guys. My kids are in Girl Scouts, and on the Fridays that we meet 2 Fridays a month. I park in the bus lot and I walk in to volunteer, and I usually pick up anywhere from 12 to 20 jackets or lunch boxes or water bottles or whatever on my way in. But that might be something that Girl Scouts can also do for the caring and kindness for their community in an earning a patch situation.
Love that we've got so many different ideas on how to make this happen.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know Ross don't want to be blamey, but like their parks and they don't hold a candle to what our trash situation is. But Jamie, really good idea. I'm going to write that down so we don't forget.
I know we're often trying to look for badge ideas because we have a pretty broad group and there's a lot of little ones in there, and picking up trash seems like a pretty easy thing that like kindergartners, first graders, second graders. I mean, we have a group all the way up through 5th grade, I think is the oldest member. But that's something totally doable for our group.
Yeah. And I just, and it's not, it's really not yucky trash, to be honest. It's like, a chip bag and stuff like that. I would feel totally comfortable with my young kids doing this.
Yeah, it really is mostly dry wrappers and like kids' jackets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, team. Thank you, Ross. All right, so the last item on the written agenda that we have is the book fair update from Abby. So as promised, sharing that information. So our fall festival closed, our fall book fair closed with $15,317 in sales, which equates to just over $7,600 for us as a school to spend with Scholastic to help build the school library and individual class libraries as well. For comparison's sake, the spring book fair brought in just over 12,500. So big increase from the spring, and we're looking forward to the spring book fair coming up basically right around the corner. No firm dates on that yet, but stay tuned. All right, everybody, that's everything I've got for the written agenda. Any questions from the group? Anything else that somebody would like to bring to the meeting?
I had a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Is the plan for the breakfast for the teachers is still a go, right?
Yes.
To solicit feedback. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and team, what Ross is referring to is that the team behind the planning and execution of the Ham Jams fundraiser, they will actually be hosting a breakfast for the teachers on the morning of the 19th to, first of all, thank them, give them some delicious breakfast to eat, but also to kind of solicit some feedback from them. We were able to gather up a lot of funds from that adventure, and we want to make sure that we're spending it along the lines with what the teachers want to see. So really making sure to go to great lengths to gather their input. We're going to have a survey that's going to be sent out to, again, make sure that money is being spent smartly and in a way that makes an impact for the teachers. All right, team. So last up before we close out, just highlight upcoming events. We've got Thanksgiving break here in like 2 weeks, I think. In December, we have a literacy event for K through 8 on the 5th of December. The band and chorus winter concert is going to be on the 18th. Winter classroom parties are on the 20th. And then we'll have a winter break all the way up until the new year. And then our first big event of the new year will be Spirit Night at the Checkers game. This was a ton of fun last year. Plus, I got to hear Principal Modine cheering and yelling at the hockey players, which was super fun. So I'm excited about this event. The Checkers organization donates $5 from each ticket purchased right back to the school for us to use. And then we have a question. Set. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Danny.
Hey.
Board. This is Pedro Velasquez. Daughter goes there. Just have a question, and then I have two questions. One, I have a number one. So, is there anything that's going to be done as far as like parking, not parking, pickup school line? And the reason why I bring that up, when I go there, sometimes I wait for an hour, and we're almost in at the end of the year, and it takes a long time. But I think the biggest thing I have is, what are we doing to communicate in Spanish to parents that maybe don't understand the new process that started back when the school started again? The people cutting off all the time, and it's really frustrating, except for the parents that get there at 2 in the afternoon. So that was one question. Number two is there anything that's in the works to communicate to parents overall when the Department of Education gets removed by our incoming administration? I'll say that nicely. But that's what I want to know more. Is there going to be any communication to parents? Is there anything that is going to change with testing or however things are done at Collinswood? I just wanted to bring.
Yeah, as for the first part, it's definitely the afternoon pickup. It's definitely been a big thorn and a combination that's come up. I mean, I sit in that carpool line 3 days a week, so I totally understand. From the conversations we've had as a larger PTA, as well as PTA leadership in conversations with Principal Modine, we're ultimately doing just about everything we can. The main focus of the reflow of traffic was to get the line off of Tyvola, making sure that we're having the parents are being safe on the road, and so that traffic that's flowing through on Tyvola, they can also be safe. So that's why everything was rerouted. Unfortunately, once we get off of or outside of the school's campus, there's not much that the school can do to enforce any sort of behaviors. Even the school resource officer, he's been out there kind of directing traffic and helping prevent people from cutting into line. But that is actually outside of his scope of work. That's something that he was doing above and beyond on his own volition, because his scope of influence or scope of work is strictly to the school grounds. So unfortunately, we're just really left with trusting other parents to do the right thing, obey traffic laws. So it's certainly frustrating, to say the least, most days. Again, unless you were like my mother-in-law, who gets there at 1:47 on Fridays to be the first in line. So it's definitely frustrating, but ultimately the school and the school leadership has done essentially what they can, other than going just door to door on these cars as they're parked in the line. As far as communicating to the Spanish speaking members of our families, I believe the communications went out in English and Spanish on Parent Square. I know Principal Modine was very good about sending out bilingual communications on any official messaging from Parent Square, but maybe it might be Principal Modine may be worth sending out a reminder sometime soon, or maybe even at the start of the new year once we come back from the holidays.
Okay, thank you.
And then Harry's got a question, says asking if paper communication has gone home regarding the carpool process. And so actually I'll let Miss Labreezy or Principal Modine, I'll let you answer that. Has any paper communication gone home?
We have sent out paper communication, but like it's been out on the parent square consistently about like what the expectation is and what parents should do.
Yep. And then got a message or another comment here from Leon. Issue is people coming in from Tyvola through Flagstaff, cutting off right at the school entrance. I've been out there on Friday mornings, especially at the beginning of the year, wearing my vest and getting yelled at. So Miss Labreezy's been there with me. So I mean, we know. I wish we could have better answers for this situation because of the impact it has to everybody. But ultimately, we have to trust in other parents to follow the rules. And I know Principal Modena and Ms. Labreezy will continue to send out communications and do their part, but ultimately, not much else we can do at this point. And Gerardo, that's conversation for a different day. But yes, people are not very nice when you try to remind them of the rules.
I was gonna.
And then Pedro, you had a second part of your comment regarding potential changes to Board of Education. So
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think that one is more so towards the school and outside the PTA scope. Miss Labreezy, Principal Modine, I don't know if you wanted to make any comment on that at this time.
I'm trying to. Which comment was it?
So I can restate it. This is Pedro again. So I don't know. I would imagine the school systems following what's going on with the new incoming administration, how they're going to dismantle the Department of Education. Everything's going to fall in the states. And the question was more, how is that going to be communicated to parents that don't go into Parent Square? So I get that there's a lot of communication in Parent Square. A lot of people don't use it, to be very frank. And if they do, there's people always put a lot of chats and it gets overwhelming. So my question is, how is that going to be communicated to parents, caregivers, to children? My daughter tells me stuff at school that I'm like, 8-year-olds don't need to worry about that. So my biggest question is, what are we doing as a school system within CMS or most are within Collinswood to communicate in a dual language environment, but more so to put children at peace and calm of just being a kid? So I wanted to know what's going on with that, or is the school system, is CMS planning on doing some kind of mass communication, or having open? I'm thinking in Spanish, where people can come together like town halls and talk about it. Or what does that look like, or is there any preemptive, since we know what's going to come day one in January?
I guess I'm really not clear on what the question is.
The question.
Can you give me some information?
Does the school system use the Collinswood, and what's CMS doing if they take away the Department of Education? What's going to be the mitigation for the possibility of all hell breaking loose?
So I really am not clear on the question because the Department of Education is not going away.
Where did you? Okay, forgive me. I'm not trying to be rude, but
yeah,
how many presidents said he's taking the Department of Education away day one, that the states are going to own education? So there's a big, I'm not understanding why you guys are not getting that yet on your side, but he literally came out on the news. It's not that's what was said. He said it himself that he's taking away the Department of Education day one.
There's probably a lot, like I think I put in the chat, but I'm having internet trouble. A lot of what our school systems do, Modine, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is controlled by the state legislators and the NCDPI, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. I feel like there are a lot of safeguards, might not be the right term, but there are a lot of layers there. So I think no matter what the incoming administration does with the federal side of things, the state does control what our kids in public education are learning and expected to learn. And our advocacy committee does attend each of the CMS board meetings so that they can keep an eye on any possible disruptions to a program like ours, dual language immersion. So if that gives you any, like a little bit of peace, that's how I've understood how things are, how the hierarchy kind of works. So there's some layers in place, and time will tell.
Yeah, and I think this type of environment is probably not the best to discuss something like this, just because of the uncertainty of it all. I mean, Pedro, even you said it. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, and I know I have confidence that just like in our family, time will tell. We will roll with the punches as to what happens and make adjustments in our own lives. Just like I'm sure that Principal Modine and the school administration will make changes if needed and adjust accordingly, and on up through the various school systems and some of the various legislative bodies. So the for right now, I think that it's a valid question, it's a valid thought. It just right now, I'm not sure that this is the best avenue for that kind of conversation, nor the greatest time, just because of all of the uncertainty of it. But definitely encourage. I'm always one to encourage open communication and transparency. So we'll continue to try to keep on top of these things and help each other out with providing information as possible, and really leaning on the school and the administration to provide their guidance as they receive it.
I will just add, we also have other resources at the school board level, and there are resources that are aligned to Collinswood and the area that Collinswood resides in. Paige, I'm happy to share those resources with you, because I kind of think those types of folks at the school board level probably will have some more expertise and frankly know the inner workings of how the state level interacts with the federal, and what would happen if there was some meaningful change to the federal sort of the federal level, the Department of Education.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, team. And then, as promised, Sherry's putting in some links and from some email communication information for the CMS legislative aid. And as always, continue to reach out to those individuals with questions or concerns. All right, everybody, that's everything I've got. Oh, sorry, kind of going back to the events, just two more to highlight. We have got the Spirit Night at the Checkers. That link is in the chat. And then the next general meeting for the PTA isn't going to be until January 14th, as we typically don't meet in December. That said, speaking on behalf of myself, Sherry and Jasmine as the vice presidents, and the rest of the PTA board, any questions, anything else that comes up along the way, please feel free to reach out to one or any of us. And with that, I would like to move to conclude or adjourn our last 2024 PTA meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, y'all. We will see you in 2025 for the next meeting. Everybody have a good night.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, y'all.